So, welcome back to the Marketing Made Easy for HR Consultants with me, Nick Paninsky, here to help you build a business that earns 70k or more, and you can do it in under an hour a day. And normally, I talk to you guys about marketing, sales, personal development, all that good stuff. But this week, we're going a little bit of a different direction, and we're going to talk to Andrea Derbyshire. Andrea has been working with me for the past 8 weeks, building a pipeline into her business to get more leads, more clients, more sales, more profits, all that good stuff for her business. I invited Andrea on to share her thoughts about working with me, and she has agreed to join me. So thank you for joining me, Andrea.
Thank you for inviting me on, Nick. I'm looking forward to speaking to you this morning.
Yeah, no problem. So let's get right into it. So Andrea, just have a little introduction to yourself, you know, what it is that you do, and then we can move straight on.
Thank you, Nick. So I'm Andrea Derbyshire. I'm a HR diversity and inclusion consultant. I set up Andrea Jane Consultancy 6 years ago to provide equality, diversity and inclusion advice and support to people leaders. I've got around 27 years HR experience, but specialising in my passion of ED&I, and I've been working with Nick for the last 8 weeks.
Ah, wonderful. Love it. Nice and succinct. You've been working on your elevator pitch there. Perfect. Okay, Andrea. So yeah, talk about your first impressions, because obviously I think we knew each other from LinkedIn, but
Yes. So I'd been connected with Nick on LinkedIn and I'd been following his posts. I joined a free webinar that Nick had advertised for marketing for HR consultants. And my first impression of Nick, I thought he was really professional, knowledgeable, very friendly and direct, pulls no punches, says it as it is. And I like that. I connected with him.
Oh, that's music to my ears. I like hearing that. I try to be friendly and helpful, so
definitely are. Yeah.
Excellent.
Very personable.
Ah, good. That's good to hear. So I mean, obviously the end of the webinar, you decided to invest with me. So we've been working together for the 8 weeks. So yeah, what have your first impressions of the process overall been like? You know, the 8 weeks. What's that been like for you?
No, it's been fantastic. It's been really helpful. Been really responsive and come back to me about any questions and queries. I've learned an awful lot about how much work is involved in marketing and sales that I didn't realise or appreciate from the outset. And you've shared so much with me of your knowledge and experience in marketing and sales. It's just really, really helped me.
Excellent. Yeah, I think HR consultants, you know, I don't think that they tend to appreciate how difficult it is building a business. You know, it's much more of a struggle than people think it is. They see people go online on LinkedIn and like it seems like they're smashing it, like they're winning. Like, oh, that looks easy, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But like you say, the reality is somewhat different, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I guess next up, so for those listening along at home, I've got a list of questions to go through with Andrea. So next question, what were your expectations and how did they align with reality?
I think my main expectation was that I would learn about how to define a target market for my consultancy business and how to market Andrea Jane Consultancy to the right people and create a lead magnet that would ultimately help me to attract new clients and new contracts for my business. But as I said earlier, I really didn't appreciate or realise how much work was involved in marketing and sales, or the amount of support that I'd get from Nick, which I must say did exceed my expectations.
Oh, that's good. I like hearing that, Andrea. Can I ask you just to go off a little bit away from our questions there, because you've talked about the target audience. Now I bang on about this 1,000 times a day. I cannot underemphasize how important this is. You know, how did you feel about that target audience situation? Because I know HR consultants love saying they work with SMEs, and I say SMEs don't exist. So
yeah, It was quite challenging, really. So I've had Andrea Jane Consultancy for 6 years, and I have worked with different sectors and different what you could call target markets. So I've not been really specific in my advertising and attracting clients. And it was quite something that I had to really think about who is it that I wanted to work with, and where I could add the most value.
And how do you feel now you've got that target market?
I think that it's the right target market. So I think that's where the focus of my experience and skills is. And I think that they're the people that I could really help to solve their HR problems.
Excellent, yeah. And do you think that that's been good for your marketing, for your sales to have a target market, or are you going to go back to having an SME as your target market?
I didn't ever have SME as my target market, but it was just that I could provide HR, equality, diversity and inclusion support to organisations, which was really broad, really broad. So I think it really helps me now in thinking about the messages that I put out, and crafting and tailoring those to speak to my audience and the people that I want to work with and going forward.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, for me, I guess I'll have to hear your thoughts on it, but for me, I found it really helpful when I decided to go marketing and sales for HR consultants. Before that, it was business consultants. Business consultants is so broad, like it was already a little bit niche down, but when I started going for HR consultancy, I can wake up in the morning and I know that I have to go and find some HR consultants to talk to, but business consultants is like, where the hell do I even start? Have you found something similar?
Yeah, it's a lot more specific. But if I looked at my LinkedIn connections and my professional network, the majority of my connections and network are in the NHS, because that's where a vast amount of my HR and EDI experience is. So it makes sense to be targeting those people and wanting to work with those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Go with what you know, right? Go with who you can help. And the NHS isn't going anywhere. So it's a good target market to choose, I think. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so well, I think you've already talked about how the communication and collaboration works. I'm going to go back to my questions, Andrea.
Yeah.
So so about working together, do you think that we've achieved the goals of the pipeline playbook?
Yeah, definitely. Thinking about communication and collaboration, I think you were in touch right from the minute that I signed up for the programme, and keeping me up to date, sharing information about what we'd be covering over the 8-week programme. And we had those weekly catch-ups, and you were really responsive and available on email and WhatsApp, and got back to me really quickly with replies to any questions that I really appreciated. You gave me the pipeline playbook to work through, and that had pre-recorded videos of you talking through and what I needed to be doing, what we'd be covering. I thought that was really helpful because I could watch it in my own time when it was convenient and replay anything that I wasn't sure about. And it helped me getting to know you, seeing a familiar face on the video content. Then we'd check in on how things were going and my next steps. But the thing that I found really valuable was all of the helpful tips that you gave me that helped me to save time. So things that I hadn't accessed or used before, different resources like ChatGPT to help me to develop my messaging further, and Walletzy for sending out automated messages to my clients, and Loom for video replies. I think that I found that really helpful because they were things that I wasn't even aware of. I didn't even know how I could use them to benefit me and how much they would help me in terms of being more efficient and effective in the work that I do.
Yeah, I think using those methods of SaaS, like you say, they save so much time. They make things so much more streamlined and quick. So I'm glad you've enjoyed those, because it's not like there's a video talking about these things as part of the course. It's just things that I drip feed in and then talk to you about. So I'm glad you found that useful.
Yeah, I think I've realised I'm a bit of a technology dinosaur, so there's so much out there that I wasn't aware of that's really, yeah, I've learned a lot.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. There's loads of technology out there, and it's changing all the time. So I'm not au fait. I'm not up to date. But you know, there are bits and pieces that I know to use, and they make things so much easier.
Yeah,
It's game
definitely.
changing. So yeah, this is a closed question. I'm not positively loving this one, but let's ask it anyway. Did you feel adequately supported and equipped to implement your strategies and the changes that we needed to make?
Yeah, I think you definitely gave me a great level of support and help with checking my progress along the way, checking what I'd done and the work that I produced, to help me to refine it and improve it. And so I wasn't expecting that level of support from you, Nick. So everything that I'd done, you would review and comment and give feedback and help me to improve it. So as I said, there was a lot of work involved, but I do think it was really valuable, and you helped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things, right? Because I can say to you, Andrea, choose a target market, put some messages in front of them. That's a pipeline for your business, job done.
Mhm.
But the reality is those messages, you know, to get their attention, to want them to download your lead magnet, to read your emails and to be moved to wanting to work with you. Those messages have to be key. So it's one thing, you know, you either create them yourself, you either fill in the templates like everyone, you ask ChatGPT, but
Mm.
putting that, you know, that marketing angle on it, I think is, yeah, that's what I tried to do anyway.
Yeah, the models that you provided, the examples, they were really useful as well to help me to think about what that would look like in reality and apply it to my marketing messages. So rather than starting from scratch, I had something to work with as a model.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things is, you know, starting from scratch, like you say, a blank piece of paper it can be overwhelming, you know. Where do you
Yeah.
start? Where do you go? So, yeah, wanted to do as much of the heavy lifting for you as possible. But it wasn't all good, was it? Let's talk about Am I?
We did have some challenges along the way. I think we realised early on that my website that I set up 6 years ago when I launched Andrea Jane Consultancy, it wasn't geared up to develop an email list or to use email management software. And for me to be able to follow the playbook and implement the strategies, I needed to change my website. So recognise that I needed to get the website updated and redesigned.
Yeah.
And Nick helpfully provided some contacts from his experience, recommending people he'd worked with to help me with developing the website, but also some graphic design as well. So I produced a lead magnet, for my target audience, and to make that to look more professional and appealing to my clients, recognise that it needed to have professional design input. So
Yeah, because there was Gary, who is the graphic designer, and he's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, if anyone's been along to the Pipeline Playbook workshop I held last week, he designed all the PDFs, so he's fantastic. He's great at his job. But then, because you hired him as well, right?
Yes, to design the lead magnet, but he's also redesigned my LinkedIn banner and is doing some work on templates for my business so that when I've produced reports or presentations, I've got Andrea Jane's consultancy branding aligned with the templates, and producing an email footer for me. So they all just help to promote my brand and Andrea Jane Consultancy.
Yes, I like that. There's that golden thread that runs all the way through. You know, people, whatever touch point they have of yours, they get that same feeling throughout it.
Yeah, I think
It's
that's
good.
really helpful. So yeah, so the work on the website did delay me a bit, but it was essential for me to be able to create an email list and to use email management software. That my whole website had to be redesigned and relaunched. But I did use that as an opportunity as well to look at the website and whether it was fit for purpose, and used Nick's website checklist to help me to run through what's currently on the website, what's missing, what needs to be improved.
Yeah, unfortunately, Amar wasn't the quickest though. No.
No.
So Amar is somebody I met online and who built and designed my website for me. I absolutely loved it. So, you know, and as soon as I met Andrea and I knew she needed a website, I said, Amar, don't let me down now. This is Andrea. She needs a new website. And then, yeah, he wasn't the best experience for you.
We did have some delays along the way. I think we got there in the end.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm happy with the website as it is now.
Yeah, that's the main thing, I think, is he does a good job. It's just a bit slow. Okay, so we're coming to the end now, Andrea. So, got two big questions. So, the overall satisfaction with the experience of working with me?
Really, really happy. I think that Nick's been very personable, responsive. It's been super helpful for someone like me who's really not got those skills in marketing and sales and recognise that I haven't got those skills. So I would recommend Nick to others. I think I've moved along through the pipeline playbook. I've now got a website that's got an email list on it, and I've got, I think, 29 subscribers in over a week since I've launched my lead magnet, and I'm going to be nurturing those clients, hopefully, moving forward. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it. That's now you've got that pipeline, right? So it's about, you know, destroying that feast or famine. There are people who have put their hand up and said, Andrea, I'm interested in what you do. Andrea, keep in touch with me. You know, Andrea, I'm a potential client for you. And these people that, as I said, they put their hand up and they're saying, okay, and now you've captured these people. You can keep in touch with them regularly and build up that know, that like, that trust. You know, you can build up a relationship with them. So that, you know, because not everyone is ready to work with you as soon as they meet with you. So, yeah, moving them onto the mailing list to keep them warm.
Yeah, I think I've loved learning about the different ways I can keep in touch and get in touch with my client. So I'm keen to try out some of those different approaches over the coming months, like lumpy mail. That's brilliant. I think that really grabs people's attention.
Yes, yeah. I think there's a hell of a lot of opportunity there for you in terms of lumpy mail as well, especially with the NHS aspect. You know, you can send them like a little child's doll or a nurse or a first aid kit or something, like a toy first aid kit. Does your HR DEI prospect, does it need first aid? There's all sorts of opportunities there, but it depends on your brand, right?
Yeah. And I'm really embracing AI. As I've said to Nick, it's my new best friend and helping me work smarter, not harder. It's just helping me to be so much more productive. Yeah.
It generates content just so quickly and so effectively.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as we were saying before this call, like, it's not perfect. And, you know, 30% of the time it'll completely miss the mark. But, you know, it gives you that starting point, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad that you've embraced that. So, yeah, is there anything else you want to say just before we wrap this up, Andrea?
Just would encourage other HR consultants to work with Nick. So I've found it really valuable. As I've said, I've learned a lot, and I'm potentially going to be working with Nick going forward as well to further improve my marketing and sales and my consultancy.
Yeah, excellent. I like that, Andrea. Well, yeah, there you have it, folks. Straight from the horse's mouth. Working with me is, I think, certainly something worth exploring. So visit my website, register your interest for the HRCCCS today, and I'll be in touch to discuss next steps. Honestly, I do need to get a better name for it. I die a little bit inside. It's too much of a mouthful every time I say it. But yeah, something to think about for the future. But yeah, in the meantime, as ever, get marketing, because without marketing, there's no sales. And without sales, there's no business. So get marketing. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me, Andrea.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.